In order to be able to do this exercise, the first task is for you to study the drawing. Now, in studying the drawing, you will observe that we have a few center lines. Now, this is the major center line, this line running vertically and this horizontally. So this is the main center line. So I'll be starting my drawing with this main center line, vertical and horizontal. Afterwards, I'm going to use offset tool to make copies of other center lines. Now we have other center lines, vertical, you can see this is another center line. This is another center line. Then horizontally, we have this and this also. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is drawing all my center lines. The center lines are like framework for my orthographic drawings. So let's get this done. In order to do the center line, I'll be making use of construction line. So I'll go to my construction line. The shortcut for construction line is XL. So I'll pick vertical, V, enter. Construction line again. Horizontal, H, enter. Alright, so this will going to serve as my main center line, which is this. Then afterwards, I'm going to use offset to get another center line at distance of 50 up and down. So from this main center line horizontally, I'm going to use offset tool to create another center line at distance 50 up and 50 down. So offset distance is 50, enter, select my object up, then select down. Okay, after doing this, I need to make use of my zoom to make sure that my drawings is visible. So I'll be using my zoom to make sure that the drawing is visible. So I've been able to use offset up and offset down, 50 distance. Then next, I'm going to use another offset to create the other vertical line. So I have another center line here and here. So this is another center line and here is another at a distance of 36, which means 18 to the right, 18 to the left from the main vertical line. So I'll be getting that done. Offset, distance of 18, select object, 18 to the right, 18 to the left. Okay, then lastly, I have another center line of distance 70 from the main vertical center line. Distance 17 to the right. So I'll do that also. Offset, distance 70, enter. Select object, then move to the right. Okay. By drawing this construction line, which serves as a framework for my drawing, it makes my drawing very easy. Now, let's continue. Then the next I'm going to do is I'm going to be drawing these two circles of radius 20 and radius 32 from the main center line, radius 20 and radius 32. So I'll go to circle. From this center line, I'll make sure my object snap is on. So I will confirm I have center point active and my object snap is on. So that will enable me to be able to pick the intersection here, which is the center of my circle. So radius 32, then the other circle of radius 20. Okay. All right. So next, I'll be drawing these two circles. So we have the inner circle of radius 5 and the outer to be radius 13. So radius 5 and radius 13. So circle at this point, radius 5. Another circle, the same center point, radius 13. Okay, I didn't draw this right. Circle, center point, radius 13. So circle, center point, radius 13. Okay, so now I have 4 copies of this. These two circles, they are in 4 copies. So I'm going to be making use of copy modifying tool, select the 2 circles, enter center point, then I will drop it So I'll make sure I drop it in the right center point. So to create the 4 copies. All right. Then next, I'm going to come to this end. I have 2 circles here. So I have a circle, a smaller circle of radius 5. Then another circle that has been modified to form an arc. So we have radius 15 and radius 5. So there's a circle here that has been modified. Part of it has been trimmed off. So I'm going to draw the complete circle for now. Later I'll trim it off. So 2 circles, radius 5 and radius 15. So circle, another circle. All right. So now my drawing will be coming, be forming shape now. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using arc. I'm going to be using arc to connect the circles. So here I have arc of radius 12 connecting this. Then the same thing applies here. Then I also have this 12 at this end to connecting this. So I'll be drawing this 4 arc of radius 12. Radius 12 for this, radius 12, radius 12, radius 12. So arc. Now, instead of me using arc, I can always use fillet to achieve the arc. So I'll be making use of fillet to create the arc. So I click on fillet. I'll go to the radius option, radius 12. Then I'll make sure I select multiple because I'm making 4 copies of that. So with that done, I'll be able to make my selection. So by making use of fillet, it makes my work very easy. So fillet helps me to connect the 2 circles with an arc easily. Okay, that has been done using fillet. So next, I'm going to connect these 2 circles with an arc. So the radius of the arc is 32. Then the same thing applies downwards, radius 32. So to do that, I'll be making use of circle. So for your circle, there is an option of tangent radius. So if you look at the circle very well, you will see that this arc is tangent to this circle, is also tangent to this circle. So the best method to do this is using circle with an option of tangent radius. So I'm going to pick this option. Then the first tangent is somewhere around here. So I'm going to select a point. Now, if you look at my screen very well, you see that there is a green indicator on. The green indicator is on because on my object snap setting, I made sure that tangent is on. So tangent is on my object snap setting. So that's why I have that green indicator on. In case you don't have that on, make sure you put it on. It's going to help you to pick the tangent points. So now I can pick here. Then the second tangent point is somewhere around here. So I'll pick a point here. And the radius is 32. So on the command line, I'm asked to indicate the radius of 32. Enter. Now you can see now I have a circle that is tangent to this circle here, tangent to this, and it's well formed. So now next I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the unnecessary lines that have been created. So I pick trim. So trim, I press enter on my keyboard. Then I trim off unnecessary lines formed. Okay. So I can easily delete this part. So that has been done. So I'm going to repeat the same thing down. Circle, tangent option. Pick a point here, another point here. Then radius of 32. The circle has been formed. Now I use trim. Enter on my keyboard. Then trim off that point. Trim off this. Then I can go ahead and delete this. Okay, that has been achieved. So the next step for me is to connect these 2 circles with a line. So I'll be connecting these 2 circles with a line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my line tool. Then I'll come to my object snap and make sure that tangent is on. So what I don't need intersection. What I need is tangent because I want the line to be tangent to this circle around somewhere around here, and also tangent to this circle somewhere around here. So by making use of tangent, it's going to create the line. So I'll use line again, tangents around here, tangents around here. So that gives me the line connecting the two circles. So I'm going to do the same thing here, line. Okay, I think this time I need intersection. So from this intersection to this intersection. All right, good. Now, lastly, the drawing is out. I'm done with the drawing. I'm going to use trim to remove unnecessary lines from. So I'm going to make use of my trim. I click on trim, press enter on my keyboard. Then I will trim off every unnecessary lines, every lines I don't want. So I'm going to do that. Okay, what else? So I've been able to trim off unnecessary lines. Then my center lines, if you observe the center lines, you can see the center line is allowed to project a little bit outside the drawing, just a little bit outside the drawing. So I'm going to adjust the length of my center lines. I'm going to adjust the length of my center line. So to do that, I'll first draw a rectangle to trim this to a convenient length. Then now I can delete this rectangle. Then now I'm going to adjust the length of my center lines. I'm going to adjust my center lines. I'll make sure that auto mode is on so that it's going to keep the line straight. Let's keep this line. Okay, now I've been able to adjust the length of my center line. So I'm done with this drawing. I'm done with this drawing. Then lastly, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding my dimensions to the drawing. Or before I add my dimension, I think I would like to create the layers. Let me create my layers to make the drawing of different thickness and to show my center line. So I'm going to create layers. So I'll go to layer property. Okay. I'm going to create 2 or 3 new layers. Let me call this layer center lines. Center line. Center line. So if you don't know how to create layers, I have a video on layers that I've done. So you can go through the video to understand how layer is being done. So center line. Okay. Okay, another layer. I'll call this thick. So this is going to have a dark color. It's going to have a dark color. Then line weight. I'm going to make this a bit thick. Then I'm going to create another layer for my text, for my dimension. Okay, I don't need to do that since I'm not adding text, so I don't need to have that layer. So let's okay. After creating my layers, I'll close the dialog box. Then I will now come and apply the layers. I'm going to start with the center lines, or better still, I'll select all. I'll select all the drawing. Then now I will apply the thick layers to them, to everything. So by applying the thick layer to everything, so that will make sure that all my drawings is in thick. To confirm this, I'll go to my drawing aid and go to show or hide line width. There's a drawing aid icon that has show or hide line width. So by pressing this, I can see that all my layers are thick, but I don't want all of them to be thick. So I'm going to select the center lines and group the center lines properly. So center lines, I'm selecting out my center lines and applying center line to it. Okay, so now I have my center lines in red. Now you would observe that the center lines should be broken lines. The center line should be broken lines. So in order to make it broken lines, I'm going to go and I'm going to select one copy of my center line, right click, properties. So under these properties, I'm going to change the line type scale from 1 to, let me change it to 8. Enter. Okay, let me see how that is. Okay, I think it looks good at 8. It looks good at 8. I can decide to increase it a bit. Right click, properties, line type scale. Let me change it to 10. Okay, this looks good for me. It looks good for me at 10. So 10. So now I want all other center lines to have the same property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a shortcut called match property. A tool called match property. The shortcut is MA. So I'm going to type MA on my command line, enter, which is for match property. So the source, select source object. The source is this first one. Then destination is the other center lines. So I'm going to select my destination so that it can apply the same property to other center lines. Okay, that is done. So by doing this, I've been able to, my drawing is looking so good. It's looking so good. Then lastly, I'll be adding dimensions to the drawing. So before I do my dimension, I need to do a settings. So in case you don't know how to do dimension setting, I have a video specifically on dimension on AutoCAD. So go check out the video to understand how to do dimension. Okay, now lines, I want my dimension to be blue. Okay, then symbol on arrow size, let me choose 10. Okay, then text, my text too should be 10, then align with dimension line. So what I'm doing now is I'm customizing my dimension, the primary unit, whole number. Okay, all right, good. Now set current, close. Now I'm going to be applying my dimension, linear. So now to apply the dimension, I will make sure that my object snap is on. Then for my object snap, I need intersection to be able to pick the endpoint. So I'll make sure the object snap is on for mine to apply my dimension. Okay. All right, so the size of my dimension looks so big, so I'm going to adjust it by going to modify. I use 10 as the arrow size, so let me reduce it to 6. Then text also, I'm going to reduce it to 6. Okay, close. All right, so this looks good for me. So I'll continue applying my dimension. So, okay, so this is radius 5. Okay, so I'm going to bring out all my dimension. Radius 12 for this. Okay, radius 32. Okay, I can edit this text value to show that there are 4 copies of this. So I'll just double click on the text, then I'll be able to edit the text. So 4. So this is to show that there are 4 copies of that circle. So this circle is radius 5. We also have 4 copies of it. So I'm going to double click on the text in order to edit it. 4 copies of it. So this is to show that there are 4 copies of the circle. So now by doing this, I have my drawing fully made. I have my drawing fully made. All right, so I hope you have learned one or two things on how to approach orthographic drawing. So irrespective of how complex the orthographic drawing looks, if you're able to follow this simple approach, you'll be able to get your job done. So thank you so much for taking your time in this tutorial. So remember to subscribe, share this video. See you in the next video.